Hello and welcome everyone to the third Thames Valley AI Hub event, AI the Knowledge Transfer Network. My name is Sarah Wirtz and I'm a Business Relationship Manager at the University of Reading, and I'm also the Lead Coordinator for the TVAI Hub initiative. Alongside me today are my colleagues Claire and Rowan, providing technical support. Claire and Rowan, do you want to say hi and say what your role is with the Hub?
Oh, hi everybody, good morning. As Sarah said, my name's Rowan and I co-manage the marketing and comms side of the AI Hub with Claire. Firstly, can I just say I hope everyone is keeping safe during these strange and, to overuse a word, unprecedented times. And secondly, I'd like to extend a sincere thank you to everybody for joining us, taking the time out of their day to join this webinar. Whether you joined us on the last one or if this is your first one, we're really grateful to you all for helping us with our key goal of building this AI community.
Good morning, I'm Claire. I'm the Network and Events Manager here at the Hub, and I'm helping build the programme of events. We have a feedback form that we would be really interested in hearing from you today. So please, when that pops up, it might pop up at some point during the event in a new window. So please do complete that feedback form for us, because it's really important and it helps us navigate what we're going to do next for you.
So we're absolutely delighted that Dr. Caroline Chibelushi could join us today. As you know, one of the main aims of the Hub is to connect the local AI community to accelerate innovation. So it's great that we've all been able to come here together today to hear directly from Caroline about how the KTN can support businesses, facilitate connections with academia, and how AI is going to help inform and shape how we recover from the impact of COVID-19. So here's the agenda for today. I'm going to give a brief introduction about the Hub and how the event's going to run. Then I'm going to hand over to Caroline for her presentation. Caroline said it's okay for me to pass questions to her during her presentation, but we've also got dedicated Q&A time at the end. Then she'll pass back to me for a brief closing remarks, and we'll finish by 11:30. I just wanted to highlight some events we've got coming up. So on Wednesday, the 15th of July, we're hosting an event on AI in law and intellectual property. So AI is going to transform the practice of law, and this event will reveal some of the different ways in which AI is being used in the legal profession. We've got two brilliant speakers lined up: Rajeshri Bonjanani, who is the commercial technical partner at Harrison Clark Rickaby Solicitors, and she'll give a talk around intellectual property issues in AI. And Associate Professor Adrian Orenson-Stourier from the University of Reading, who will give a talk around copyright and the creative AI, resolving the contested authorship of works created using AI. Then on Wednesday, the 16th of September, we are joining forces with TVAI Hub UK to co-host an event on AI and machine learning in healthcare. We'll be joined by Dr. Jackie Turner, the Chief Executive for Clinical and Strategic Partnerships at Benevolent AI, and also Professor Lionel Tasarenko from the University of Oxford, and the R&D Director for Sensine Health. And we'll be promoting and sharing details of that event shortly. And then on Wednesday, the 21st of October, myself and my colleague Carol McAnally will be hosting an event on R&D grant funding through Innovate UK. Carol and I have submitted a large number of applications to Innovate, and we thought we'd let you benefit from our experience and give you some hints and tips as to how to make your applications to Innovate as competitive as possible. You can sign up to all of our events through our LinkedIn site and on our website, and the details of those are shown here on the screen. We created the Hub for the community, so we really do want to hear from you, and we also want to be a valuable source of information for our network. So, as well as showcasing the latest developments in AI, we regularly promote local business support services and funding opportunities through our social media, our events, and our website. So please do drop us an email, follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter, and regularly check out the website for content. If you'd like to tweet during today's event, can you please use the hashtag TVAI Hub? So how's the event going to work today? So the webinar's being recorded for those who were unable to attend today, and you can find a copy of all of our webinars on our website under the Libraries tab. Please feel free to use the chat function for general discussion. We want to hear from as many as you as possible. But if you have a specific question to ask, can you please use the Q&A function? The way Zoom webinar works, it means it's just easier for the speaker and organisers to manage the questions if you use that function. And if you'd like to ask a question anonymously, there's a tick box which enables you to do that. Everyone should automatically be on mute, but can you just check that's the case, because any background noise can disturb the webinar. As Claire said, you'll be asked to complete a short questionnaire at the end of the webinar, and we'd really appreciate it if you could provide us with that feedback. As we both said, the Hub is for the community, so it's really important that we understand what you're thinking, so we can improve our events and the content that we provide. And finally, if you're experiencing any technical difficulties, please contact us using the Q&A function or email us at tvaihub@reading.ac.uk. Right, well, that's all from me. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Caroline now. Thank you, Caroline.
Let me just share my slides. Can you see my slides?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sarah and Claire, for inviting me here. I just wanted to share my enthusiasm, which came from the observation, which is based on the way businesses or people have been behaving since this pandemic started. And it's that thing where people are adopting technologies very fast, and they're doing it without being trained. And for me, this pandemic has been really a nasty stuff, but looking at it on the other side, with artificial intelligence and robotics, is really a blessing. So we need to hold on that, and let's work together to see if we can do something about it and move these technologies much further. All right. Oops. So the overview of my talk will be explaining to you what is KTN and the family, and then I'll look at ISCF a little bit very quickly, then talk about the funding, and then introduce or let you know that we have a robotic and AI special interest group which we work on. And then I will look at AI in general. And when I look at AI in general, is to try to understand where are our capabilities and link it very well with how we can use that AI to reduce the threats of COVID-19. So there is a problem here, and you can see I've put it in red color, that things are changing rapidly and things are not very, very certain at the moment, because money is being moved from one side to another so that we can try to reduce these threats. But even though we need to start to understand how are we going to look at the capabilities of our research, the universities, the businesses, and start to look at how we can plan and start to reduce these threats of COVID-19. As it is here, that you can see the hill is very steep if we don't start to work and plan. But if we plan properly, I think the hill will be much flatter. We can move the technology much better. So Knowledge Transfer Network, our key responsibility is to build connections and drive innovation. And how do we do that? We connect with all this ecosystem, which is universities, businesses, and all these bubbles here. The bigger the bubble means that that is where we hold or we connect or we work with more than any other place. But our responsibilities have expanded now, and we are doing more also internationally. For example, we have finished looking at how we can take our businesses to Japan, and how the Japanese also can bring their businesses here to share knowledge. So we are expanding and expanding, and we are doing more other things than just connecting people. Innovate UK is under Department of Business, Energy, Industrial Strategy. industrial strategy, and we are a family of Innovate UK. And what we do is that, if you may remember, research councils were connected with Innovate UK to form UK Research and Innovation, whereby their responsibility is to provide funding to businesses and universities to work on innovation. But then the catapults and Knowledge Transfer Network and Enterprise Network, we are connected with Innovate UK. And catapults, their responsibilities is to sort of like collaborate with universities and businesses to help them to use their facilities to enhance or to speed up their innovation, because there are other businesses which have got very good ideas, but they don't have any capability to buy some instruments or softwares to let that innovation to be driven and come out to the market very fast. So our responsibility as a Knowledge Transfer Network and EEN, we are there to connect and bring that platform where people can meet and collaborate. The industrial strategy, the ISF is still there and is going to be focused on these key areas, which is ideas, people, infrastructure, businesses, and oh gosh, I need to move this, and places. So it is there, is carrying on, but as you know, there are things which are going to change and we can't control that. You will just need to wait and or register to our newsletter and listen to a lot of presentations in a lot of events, which I will give you a link for you to understand what is going on. But the timetable for ISF was like this. We were supposed to be on the Web3 delivery. I think that has been shaken a bit, but saying that, there is manufacturing made smarter, which is carrying on really well and is going to concentrate on supply chain, connected factory, design, make, test, and flexible manufacturing. So this is going to carry on, and please keep looking at our newsletters. There will be some activities, events which are going to be conducted to explain what does this mean, and also if there is calls which will come out of this. Funding, in terms of funding, there's international funding, there's Horizon 2020, Eureka, and all these. There's also a lot of work which we have been doing to do with Kenya, Nigeria, and South Africa. And there is also KTN, COVID-19 initiatives which have been running in this particular area. I think DFID has started to advertise funding in this area, whereby we are going to look at how we can help in terms of technology in these 3 countries. And they want to test on these 3 countries first and then move to other countries. So there's a link here, which I will leave the slides with Claire and Sarah for you to click on and understand what these type of fundings are. So there is a tendency at the moment whereby people are looking at only smart funding. Smart funding has been really crowded, and it's becoming a little bit difficult to know who should be given funding or who shouldn't. For example, people can score up to 80%, but then they will be turned down for funding. The reason being that people are not diversifying their applications into different areas. There's all these funding opportunities, designing sustainable plastic solutions. If you're an AI company, you can diversify what you or where you're submitting your application. There's quite a lot of funding which is down there. Don't go to smart funding on its own. It's becoming very, very competitive and very crowded. So please look at this, and if you need help, you can ask any of us at KTN. We will help you. Specifically, Horizon 2020 are quite empty, and they're not being filled up with a lot of applications. And the money is there. Please do apply for this funding. We have KTN IX program, whereby companies submit their problems. And if you can look, for example, this particular problem, this one is closed already, but if you go to IX program, you will find others which are there. Most of them are related to AI and robotics. So a company or a university can take this problem and submit their expression of interest to say that they want to deal with this. It's a very, very good program because you are linked with the company straight away to solve a particular and specific challenge which they have. It's not like you will be applying for funding, but they will pay you directly. So please, I will encourage you to be very, very much involved. And it's not for businesses only, it's also for universities. There's quite a number of challenges there at the moment, so please go to this particular site and check it out. Now, I have been talking to my colleague in international department, and this is the email which she sent to me, and I decided to put it here as it is for you to understand what is going on. So they have been running quite a lot of global expert mission for the past few years, but now they are focused on offshore wind, China, United States, Japan, and South Africa. There is also antimicrobial resistance issue, which they are running in Germany, health aging in China, and agri-tech. So these, although these dates have gone already, what I wanted is to understand what initiatives are there for you to look at the research and initiatives or any algorithms which you have been building to start to look at how can they be reused in these particular areas. So that if you have anything which is very innovative and you think that it can be supported, please let us know, and we can start to direct you in the right direction where you can have partners and all other people to work with you. There's one which is coming later at 7th of July, as you can see here, which is going to look at cybersecurity. And that one is going to have United States, Singapore, and Israel been involved in this particular area of innovation. So check out on that as well. We support funding proposal development, but please understand that this is not our job, we just help. There is a difference between being your responsibility and just being wanting to help. So be prepared to be told no, that we can't help you, and be prepared to be told that this proposal also is not making sense, because sometimes when people ask for help, they don't want to hear the negative side of it. So if you ask first, then I can block a week or something to try to help to deal with these proposals, and or I can send it to my colleague and then they can look at it for you. But it has to be plenty of time, and also you need to read the instructions properly, check the grammars and typo, and don't give us too much work because we are already overworked. There's a good application guidance, which I will also let Sarah and Claire to have. And there's a link also on KTN where you can follow every point and understand how everything needs to be answered. So I will leave all this to Claire and Sarah for them to share it with you. And I will appreciate if before you decide to do the application, please contact and ask first if you need some help from us. Now, let's go to Robotics and AI Special Interest Group, whereby our responsibility is to create awareness and promote AI and robotics. Also, we inform the community on what is there, what needs to be done. Also, we are starting to look at legal issues. We will have a webinar soon, which is going to look at international legal issues and national legal issues to do with robotics and AI. So I will send the link. It could be in July or something like that. So we support collaboration and information of general ideas. For example, if you have an idea and you want to start to communicate with partners and all this, we can look at it and tell you maybe there is similar idea which we have seen before, and if you want to change it a little bit, or if we can connect you with that person who has got a similar idea, whereby you can work together instead of working in silo. We provide pitch training, investor readiness programs. We support business missions, as I said, and oversee collaborations. And also we publish and do more than that as well. Our main priorities were agri-food, manufacturing, health and social care, construction, infrastructure. We did quite a lot of work on extreme and challenging environments and cybersecurity, but it didn't. Sometimes this doesn't mean anything, because sometimes the problems on the society change quite rapidly and we start to deal with other things which were not on this list. So we don't close the door and say that, oh no, we were supposed to deal with only these six sectors. We normally welcome everything which makes sense or which will make an impact if we deal with it and deal with it rapidly. In terms of Pitch First, we welcome any idea from the academics or from SMEs or startups, and we want to help people to create their own businesses. So we look at an idea which you can have a basic demonstrator or medium developed, whichever stage you are. But what we don't want is an idea which is on the paper only. We will dedicate 3 days of training, but then those 3 days are not in 1 week or something. We normally divide them in 3 weeks, in 3 months. And then the rest of the work, you will be doing it at home, but you come face to face to see the person or the team which is training the businesses for 3 days. So 1 month you come once, the second month you come once, and then the third month you come another day. After that, we will present to you, we will bring the investors around and you present in front of them. We have quite a large network of investors, and these are only into healthcare, but we have another type of investors. And at the moment, the investors are diversifying themselves. They're doing things in healthcare, and then you see them in transport, you see them in nuclear energy and everywhere. So if you are interested, we normally run this every year. This year we have done it already, so please look out for next year. There's a lot of events which we run, and most of them are related to robotics and AI. Please register and be involved as much as you can, because this is where you understand where to focus your research, what is coming and what is businesses or big organizations are concerned with. I normally publish quite a lot, and I'm keen, very, very keen to feed on robotics and AI to provide them with the opportunities which are available there, which sometimes they may not know that they are there. For example, there's this particular paper which I published, how the cut flower industry could use artificial intelligence to help business grow. Now, this particular paper, I don't think if many AI companies have been thinking about this particular area of opportunity, for example. But then I had a company which is in London, which came to contact me after they read this paper, and they are now starting to implement this particular idea which I put on this paper in Italy. So things like that, they sort of like wake up the companies, and so they start to diversify themselves on where they supply their AI, which is a very, very powerful thing. So there is another one which I wrote recently, is AI ready to reduce COVID-19 threats today, and that one is full of ideas as well. I'll urge everybody, if you can, to go and read about it. We have some companies which normally come to us and give us a list like this one, for example, where they have a lot of opportunities for graduates. So whenever I get this type of list, I'll share it with Claire and Sarah for them to distribute it to university students who wants to be involved. So there's a number of things which we can do and work together with you to help also to make students have employment. I run Women in Innovation, and I think Claire was in my webinar, which was on the 12th of May. We are going to have another event, Women in AI Coffee and Networking webinar on the 18th of June. The reason being that there's a lot of AI tools which are built based on men's data. And then when you come and look at, for example, if it's a diagnosis tool, which is made using the data from men only, and then is used on women, that is not a very good thing. We need to have every part of our society being involved in developing the AI tools. So this is the aim of this particular group, which we are trying to push, that everything should be inclusive, or every part of the society should be inclusive for the best of the society. I will go through quickly AI in general, just to give you some information, which you may be, it may be good to discuss with you, and then you can start to understand where our country is. Now, when I go to many of these presentations, and people normally ask, what is the UK AI strategy? And this is how I normally put my face, basically, because I normally find that AI is a cross-sector. You can't say that this is a priority. And for the last year, I have been working or been involved in the projects which are in all these sectors. Believe me or not, I was putting a small block every day when I am involved in any of these. And this is how I built this block. So you can't say that there's any priority. The priority is the application and the problem which is coming from the society. In terms of our leadership, we are highest in terms of startups in AI in Europe. So we are doing very, very well. And I will say thank you to the universities, because you are the ones who are generating these talents, and please keep up with a good job. Now we have a problem here that if we look at the government's investments in AI, UK is not on this particular picture at all. You can see that China is heavily investing in AI, and then is followed by Germany, but we are not there. The good thing is that we are doing quite well in terms of research and publishing. Now let's not leave that publication and research go to other countries. We need to start to implement and work on it and apply it in our own problems, or in collaboration with other countries to build this good research which we are generating from this country. So what is very, very important is, and I will ask the universities to please help here, to generate talents which understand that we will have, or we will make a difference in the world by generating AI which is explainable. We have already started to make that difference, and we are being trusted as a country which we generate explainable AI. So when students are being trained in computer science, please let them know that this is extremely important. If other governments are investing a lot of money on AI, if we don't have enough money, the only way we can make a difference is to be very, very ethical in terms of what type of AI are we building. So this is extremely important, and I'll urge universities to try to implement this in their training. Now, let's look at the COVID-19 threats, and this is where I would say that I was really impressed to see how people have adopted AI and robotics rapidly without training and without being told when the COVID struck. But before, the adoption was very, very slow. And that is where I want us to work together, us as KTN, companies or businesses and universities, to help this to go forward and go further, rather than just leaving it there. And then when COVID finishes, the thing starts to slow down again. Let's move on and keep this momentum on. So again, I'm coming back to that particular paper which I published, which was COVID-19 threats. And when I put the first sentence on this particular paper, I did put it, but when you read it, you might think it's just a story. It started in Wuhan and landed in London before we could prepare ourselves. By week 2 of COVID-19 being in the UK, supermarket shelves were emptied, flights grounded, education systems transformed, railway barely operating, people were working from home, and others even being paid not to work. Now, the reason I highlighted this in red color, these are all opportunities for AI and robotics. It's not just a story, it's opportunities. And I want you to look at them, because you are a university and you're a driver of knowledge. We need you to look at this and help us to bring the economy back to the form. So I will go back to my diagram. COVID-19 has affected every single sector here. When I am trying to talk to these people in these sectors, which I talked to before, which were doing very, very well, now they are not doing very well. So as university, please look at this. As businesses, please look at this and see how we can work together, collaborate between businesses and universities, and see how we can rescue this particular problem. I thought that instead of us starting to look at all the sectors and start to have a headache of how we are going to reduce the problems, we can start to prevent the problem from happening in the first place. We know that it's very, very common that all these pandemics start with viruses being in the animals and insects, and then they are transferred to humans. So why don't we start to understand what is happening with these insects and then prevent it from happening in the first place? And this is where I'm thinking that, can AI predict the next epidemic? Can we predict or identify the virus host early enough so that we can prevent the spread to humans? At the moment, it takes years of intensive field research and laboratory work. Can we use AI and robotics in this? Look at the way these people are dressed up. Can we use robots and AI to do this work instead of humans? I think we can. So University of Glasgow has used machine learning tools to predict viral reservoirs in the animal kingdom. And you can imagine that this information is already there, but we didn't use it, and we are in this particular situation. Can we put efforts together as businesses, as a university, to join the Glasgow University to start to put this research in a stronger position, and also apply for funding so that we can build it up and start to prevent this from happening again? Now, reducing the impact of COVID-19 in all sectors, yes, we can using AI. Again, if I start with agriculture in Britain, we have approximately 50,000 seasonal workers are required in British farms each year, but there are travel restrictions, there are tight border controls. So there is an evidence that there will be a lot of fruits which are going to be left in the farms this year. Nobody to harvest them. But I noticed that Professor Richard Tiffin in Reading University is doing quite a very nice job with agrimetics. Those type of initiatives, please bring them forward for them to serve this community. It's really, really important to work together now and try to solve these problems as soon as possible. The other issue is that when we are building any tools to do with robotics and AI, we need to think wider now, not to think only locally in the UK, but we think wider because we need to look at international matters, so that when we build these tools, we are not going to have only market here, we will need international market as well to buy our tools. Look at this particular incident in the United States where farmers are dumping legs of fresh milk each day. Yeah, this guy who is growing a lot of onions, he doesn't have anybody to go and sell it directly. People don't make onion rings at home. That is what he's trying to say. So he can't go to them to sell all these lots of onions like that. A single chicken processor is smashing 750,000 unhatched eggs every week. But on the other side, if you look at it, there are people who are going hungry. So what is the problem here? The problem is the supply chain, which has broken into pieces. The hospitality industry is, again, I think I would say is the one which is hit hard because they can't open anything. They can't operate at all. So the global hotel industry has suffered and recovered from its fair share of crisis for many years. from economic downturns, from terrorist attacks, natural disasters, but nothing like this pandemic. We need to look at how are we going to support them. We need to understand what is there for AI and robotics, which can be really useful to understand how are we going to bring them back to business much faster. So that is a challenge, but it's a good challenge. The travel and hospitality industry, as I said, it has been hit hard. Planes are not flying. Well, they have started a little bit now, but if you look at it, it's not at the extent which we thought it could. Hotel and industries are not having visitors. And this report here is showing that 63% of people are not willing to travel abroad. That is the biggest loss for this industry. So what can we do? There's quite a lot which AI and robotics can do. And one of the main aspects of this is, for example, that surface there, we can start to work in multidisciplinary areas. The surface can have people from materials and chemistry to look at how the surfaces can be antiviral. We can build the surfaces which are on the reception, which are antiviral. So it will involve robotics, it will involve AI, it will involve scientists and all these other people to work together so that we can start to look at things in a different way, to create materials which are antiviral, which will help at the reception. When someone comes and put their passport there or whatever, it shouldn't be able to contain that virus. Again, there's robots which are starting to look at, they will be the receptionists nowadays. We need to understand how they will express their emotions to be like humans. We need to understand what materials are we going to make these robots so that they can look more like humans, so that they can attract visitors. All sorts of things are required here as research. So we had robots deliver food in Milton Keynes under coronavirus lockdown as well, which was very, very interesting. But how can we make these things continue? Because this happened rapidly when the coronavirus struck, but how can we hold on and make this thing happen and continue to happen? The Future Flight Challenge is there. The funding is advertised already, so please be involved. There will be quite a lot of work which needs to be done to come up with innovative solutions of how to use drones, for example, where they can fly and reduce the road congestions and parcel deliveries in the cities. So please be involved. And there's quite a lot. And this is one of the ISCF as well, which is carrying on. We have trains which are a little bit also hit, not a little bit, they're hit very, very hard as well because they're not carrying passengers as normal. There are areas which AI and robotics can help, and specifically AI. For example, in this particular area, it will usually take about 14 weeks to process a major timetable change. Capacity planning team completed the challenge in just 1 week. This is an example of areas where people would not have adopted technology very fast, but now they are. Let's hold on and help them on other areas as well so that they can bring their businesses back to normal and also making profit. Now, how to innovate the sector in order to maintain social distancing? This is a challenge, and how can we use technologies to maintain this? I think there is a way we can do this, and please be involved And if you have any idea, let us know. We are happy to help you to connect with these people so that you can help them to solve problems. Textile sector is another sector which maybe is celebrating the way I am celebrating with AI and robotics. The textile sector, we had the supply chain which was completely linked with Asian countries, and they were not bothered to look at the local textile industry here to buy things from here. The reason being that they are saying that the clothes which are made by our textile industry in the UK, they are very expensive, and so they would not want to keep them in the shops because they will not sell. But what happened after COVID is that the likes of John Lewis and Marks and Spencer's and all others, they started to seek help from the local textile industries, and they started to work with them so that they can increase their stocks, because the China and others were cut off completely at that particular moment when COVID-19 struck. So if you look at it, there's a problem here. The problem is that our industry is exporting to other countries, and then our retailers here are importing from Asia. Now there's carbon emission, there's sustainability, there's all sorts of problems which come with that. We need to remove that. And at the moment I'm writing a proposal which is going to advise or to help understand where we can help our businesses, local businesses here in the UK, to be more sustainable, to have less, to generate products which are not expensive, by helping them to reduce the amount of water which they're going to use, energy, and all sorts of things. So I will urge you also to register on our newsletter. This might come up a little bit later because it's something which we are looking at, and it's important to start to understand that we are very, very keen to restore the textile industry back here. The skills were eroded massively because everybody was depending on Asia, but we can use robotics and AI to bring some of the skills here. We can start to use robots to do some tasks in this particular sector. So I am going to depend on universities to transfer that knowledge so that we can start to work together to restore this sector back to UK. Other sectors which have adopted AI rapidly, it was healthcare actually. This is an area where it's always difficult to adopt technology rapidly, but they have at the moment. So we need to hold on and support them to continue to adopt technologies. As you have seen, the supply chain and distribution has collapsed completely, not only here, also in the United States, as you can see on the agriculture side of it. So there's a lot of work which needs to be done in AI and robotics to try to fix the supply chain. At the moment, most supply chains in the world are very, very static. They are not dynamic. So if there's a small problem or a big problem, the whole thing collapses. How can we use AI to fix this? We really need to fix it and fix it as soon as possible. The same as construction industry, when there was a problem, the whole thing was closed. We don't need to have something like that. We need to have something which can still operate at the lower level, for example, but not to close the whole structure or whole system altogether. Manufacturing, a lot of problem. Manufacturing had problems before. We had problems of low productivity before COVID struck. Now we have even more problems. How can we use robotics and AI to fix this? And I will leave you with this so that you can start to look at how you and your research and your collaborations with companies can look at these things and start to understand how we can fix these particular problems. There's quite a lot of problems, and they have been, there's additional which came because of COVID-19. But if we work together, we could solve these problems very quickly, because it has shown that people are capable of adopting technology rapidly without even being trained. So that is a positive side of it. For additional information, visit our website. As I said, attend events, speak to KTN experts. You don't need to struggle to know who to speak to. You can send me your inquiry if you want, and I can post you to the right person. And also, if you have ideas, let us know. We will help you to connect with people. These are links which you will need to register and also to understand what is going on. And I will leave all these slides with Sarah and Claire. And this is my contact details. Please contact me if there's anything which you think I could help. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Caroline. That was such an interesting talk. We've got a few questions around the funding landscape. The first one says, really interesting talk, lots of useful information, thank you. We are living through challenging times and there will be a lot of demands on public funds. Do you think, therefore, that a case for increased funding for innovation can be made by Innovate UK? And if so, will we see more funding directed to thematic calls, e.g. AI, or general calls, e.g. COVID emergency? Thank you.
I think at the moment there's more of COVID, because you can understand everybody's worried about how are we going to reduce the threats of COVID. But for me, I think there's more, as I said, there was more funding to do with yeah, there's more funding in other areas, and there's more interest at the moment in carbon emission issues, green factories, and all sorts of things. So there's other things. COVID, yes, is taking charge here at the moment, but look at all these other things which are happening. Future flights is nothing to do with COVID at all. Horizon 2020 is open. It's not saying that you have to have a particular subject area which is related to COVID at all. It's there. So please apply. And that's why I encourage that we need to diversify where we submit our proposals, because smart funding is becoming very, very competitive, and sometimes it's not making sense at all. And Eureka is there. Eureka has got quite a lot of funding calls at the moment. So please apply.
You've been mentioning Horizon 2020. Do we know how long we, because of Brexit, the UK will be able to apply into Horizon 2020? Are there any sort of time restrictions on that?
You mean that because there's a deadline here for applying, 27th of October, I think. Yeah, I think there is money which was already invested in that. We need to use it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, so apply and we use our money until when it finishes, then we come out. If there's Brexit, we come out when the money is finished, which we have put in there. Yeah. And then let other people take advantage of it.
With regard to the SMART grant, the deadline for the next SMART grant has been paused. And obviously it's hugely competitive, but do you have any indication of when that'll be reopened again? And obviously people can pivot towards these other opportunities, but so the SMART is popular for a reason.
Yeah, SMART, again, we had that fast track COVID-19. which was very, very popular, and it gave us a lot of work in terms of reviewing them. And then SMART, again, it was so popular, there were too many people who applied, to the extent that if we were to open the other one and then receive another lot, we wouldn't have managed. So that is why it was paused a bit. We don't know when it will open, because the applications which were received were too many, far too many.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is there, it will happen again, but we don't know how much, because also you need to understand that the reviewers are only so many who can access that and review those proposals. So I would say that the only thing which we can do is to diversify where we submit. And if you look at the UKRI open call for research, it's tied to COVID-19. And for me, everything can be tied to COVID-19. For example, if you say that the hospitality industry is not working because of this and that we want to bring it back to where it was because COVID-19 has made it to be what it is, I think everything can be tied to COVID-19 at the moment. It's the way you put your language there, the way you present yourself. Yeah.
Another question here is from Hayden Bland saying, extremely helpful, thank you, Caroline. Could you please give an example of a collaboration with a target country? I'm working on an AI-related client in South Korea.
Oh, if you're working in South Korea, that is a really good thing. Again, we have a very good relationship with America, with South Korea, with Japan at the moment, with Germany. The only thing which has stopped us from carrying on with all these activities is because of COVID-19, of course. But there will be calls which are linking these countries together. For example, there has been calls which are UK, Canada, UK, Korea, UK, China. There was one UK, China, I think, to do with agriculture, which just finished. So yeah, collaboration with these countries is very, very much what we do is that we look at a replica of KTN in that country, which is holding a database of businesses in that country, and then we work with them. So we start to connect businesses and universities in that country and businesses and universities in this country. And then we let them apply for funding. I don't know if I answered your question.
Okay. We'll see if she replies to that. So moving on to another question. Please would you give us a quick overview of your work in crime prediction and prevention contexts? Do you know if the algorithms you developed share similarities with those the Chinese government are allegedly using to attempt to identify pre-criminals?
Is it from my, I don't know what is that related to? Is it related to me as a person which I built before, or is it related to KTN? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. Jerry, if you could provide a bit more clarification on that, that might be helpful. Okay, I'll wait for him to type something onto that.
I can say from what I did myself, it was something to look at how you can take telephone conversations, Facebook and emails, for example, link the information and start to predict if people are communicating to want to strike, to do something which is related to terrorism. That work has been looked at with the police, and it has been used in different areas. I am not in it anymore because I'm working for KTN.
Oh yes, so Jerry's just clarified it was related to your work. He read it in your bio this morning. I was just interested about it.
Yeah. So I can talk to him more about it if he wants.
So yes, because we can circulate your contact details to him.
Yeah.
Someone's asked a question, is it possible to locate previous publications published by KTN in a central repository or view missed webinars?
Yeah. Again, I will send you the link. The link on the events and newsletters and everything, that link, if you connect or you register on it, you get all these things. There's newsletters as well, which you get all sorts of things of everything which has been done in that month or that week.
Great, thank you. Excellent. Do the KTN help build partnerships between academia and industry? So
yes, that is our work. That is what we do all the time. Yes, definitely. And if you have any idea which you're building a research and you think, for example, that this can be used by certain customer or certain user, let's say it's a nuclear energy, let us know. We will help you.
Excellent, thank you. And then how do you sign up to the robotics and AI special interest group? Can you just go on the website and sign in?
There is a newsletter for it, which you can sign on. I will send the link for it. I'll put it down.
Thank you. So Jerry says thank you, and the other attendee who asked the other question also said thank you. And that's all the questions we have at the moment. Can I just ask you if you've got any sort of take-home messages that you would like to sort of end on? Anything that you haven't covered that you'd like to just sort of reiterate to everyone?
Yeah, the one thing which I forgot is to stress on the textile industry. I don't mean only fashion. Textile industry is very, very wide. It includes also shoes and includes materials which we are using in hospitals as well. There is, for example, when I went to Johns Hopkins Hospital in US, I found they're using certain material which is releasing painkillers for patients. And that was very, very innovative. So they are not wasting a lot of tablets, whereby they give people tablets and then they don't use it and it goes in the bin. So what they do is they give them a material which is like a plaster, they wear it and it releases that painkiller slowly. So if we can take things like that, build materials which are so innovative, which can help us to reduce the cost of medicines in this country or wasting, that will be really, really important. And I will say the last thing, that please get in touch if you have good ideas. I'm happy to support you, and also I will help you to frame that idea properly, because we see a lot of things. We will be able to tell you if that idea has been done before or not.
Thanks, Caroline. Actually, one more question's just come through. Many thanks for the interesting talk. Could you give a short overview of how Eureka funding works? Is it addressed only to registered businesses, or can academics apply?
I will be very honest with you that I haven't read about it. So there's instructions on the website. If you read it and you don't get to understand how it works, I can connect you with our innovation funding manager at KTN. So please look at it again. If you don't understand it, let me know. Drop me an email. I'll connect you with our funding manager.
Brilliant. Thanks, Caroline. Okay, so I've just got a couple of slides to finish off with. So Carol, if you stop sharing, and then I'll see if I can share mine.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And go this share. Okay, so Yeah, so I just wanted to just re-highlight again the events that we've got coming up in the next few months. It would be really great to see you all at these. I hope you enjoyed today's talk. Again, here are our contact details. As I said before, the hub is for the community. We really want to hear from you, so please do contact us by email, follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter, and regularly check out our website for content. I'd like to say thank you again to Caroline for a really interesting talk. I've just been messaged by someone saying how inspiring the talk was today, so thank you so much. It was really interesting, and I've learned a lot. I think we all have. So I look forward to seeing you all again at the next event, and bye for now.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Caroline.